I would like to welcome you. Hello and welcome to this online lecture. Let's talk about radiation, science and facts for Tokyo 2020. Apart from the coronavirus issue, there had been one other topic that has been brought up frequently when talking about the Olympic Games, and that is the radiological situation after the Fukushima nuclear accident. It is my enormous pleasure to welcome our speaker today, Professor Katsumi Shosugawa from the University of Tokyo. He's one of the most renowned researchers on Fukushima-related topics. No one would be more qualified to inform us about the radiological situation with respect to the Olympic Games. So, Shosugawa-sensei, the floor is yours.
First, here is some images about Olympic Games and Fukushima when I searched them by Google. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant is located 250 kilometers northwest of Tokyo. A massive nuclear disaster has occurred just 3 hours drive from a major city like Tokyo. It is no wonder people all over the world are concerned about the radiation. The tsunami hit the nuclear reactors, and 3 of reactors went out of control and melted down. Around reactors, there are about 1,000 tanks, water tanks, and each tank can hold 1,000 tons of water. In the near future, the Japanese government are considering discharging the water from these tanks into the Pacific Ocean. So the land around the nuclear power plant is restricted from being accessed. So anyone can enter around the Fukushima nuclear power plant. It is called evacuation zone. So please take a look at the decontamination work. Next slide. This image shows a field being decontaminated. The surface soil is contaminated and has been removed surface soil and covered with clean soils. Where decontamination has been completed, the dose rate here was 0.06 microsievert. Sievert is a measure of the health effect of ionizing radiation on human body. That is simply damage caused by radiation. However, there is no point at which this damage can be reduced to zero on the Earth. It is very low. So if decontamination is completed perfectly, you can find it will be very clean. There is no difference in Tokyo. Outside the evacuation zone, most of the areas have been sufficiently decontaminated. This map shows the venues for the Olympic Games 2020. Most of the games will be held in Tokyo area, but only baseball game will be played in Fukushima. The dose rate is about 0.04 or 0.05 microsievert. Not so high, even in Fukushima baseball stadium. We went out to survey all the Olympic facilities. It was a very tough trip, and Professor Georg Stegenhauser also joined us in the survey. Here is a comparison of dose rate in Tokyo with those of past Olympic host cities. The dose rate for Tokyo Olympic sites is here are not very high. You think you have a concern about food or water, but crops in evacuation zone was not delivered consumers. This is very important. So we measured so much foodstuffs so far. This table is just examples. If you want to see more information, please contact me soon. Okay, how about water? 0.001 becquerel per kilograms. As for tap water, Japanese regulatory limit was 10 becquerel per kilograms. As far as radiation exposure is concerned, airplanes are biggest factor. So if you fly to Tokyo from any city, you will be exposed by cosmic ray. So flight is the biggest exposure factor. Okay, there is much more contaminations in the Fukushima evacuation zone than you might think. Outside evacuation zone, there's less contamination than you think.
Thank you very much, Katsumi. It was very interesting to see how much effort the Japanese government and the Japanese people have put into making this a safe event. And I don't have any concerns about this, and I'm very, very optimistic that also our participants in this lecture will be convinced that it is safe to go to Japan.